Hi, I'm Lachlan McVie, and today I'm going to be talking about the mental health epidemic that's rife throughout the Western world at the moment. So, if you're feeling miserable, chances are you're not alone. Basically, we've got 1 in 5 receiving mental health treatment at the moment. I'm going to read off some stats. In the younger cohorts, it's a lot higher. So, we've got in the 18 to 25 year olds, 36% have a mental illness. That's over 1 in 3 people. So we also have over 1 in 3 people reporting that they feel lonely on pretty much a constant basis. Suicide rates are at an all-time high. If you look at the graph, it's like this. Drug overdose and alcohol overdoses are also skyrocketing. If you look at the graph, they're at all-time highs. It's like a ski jump. The birth rate is at an all-time low. It's the inverse. So people aren't reproducing. They're not having children. They're not having families. There's probably a correlation there. People are miserable and they know something's wrong. They're not going to be having children. Marriage rates are at all-time lows, and divorces are skyrocketing. So if you're feeling miserable, it's there's something about the current climate that is producing this in a whole range of people. So you're not alone, and we're going to go into why this is occurring, or one of the reasons why. So I'll just get right into it. So first of all, throughout all of human history, there's been roughly 3 broad classes of people. You've got elites or leaders, you've got free men in the middle, and you've got slaves down the bottom. So this has existed pretty much throughout history, and you actually need all 3 to an extent. If you have everybody's a free man but there's no leadership, it's pretty much anarchy, and things don't really get done. So you need leaders, you need elites, you also need freemen. That's if there's a wide range of freemen, the society goes ahead and leaps and bounds. And the way that throughout history, elites have obtained more resources for themselves is they've converted freemen into slaves. So let's say it was the Egyptian pharaohs. There was the super rich at the top. They were converting the free men into slaves and funneling those resources up. So when you see large inequalities, what you're actually seeing is the freemen class being eroded, and they're being turned into slaves, and they're funneling that wealth up to the elites. So that's the mechanism. So a healthy society has some elites, a large body of freemen, and as little slaves as possible. Okay, you don't want slaves, you don't want slavery. But inevitably, people exploit other people, so there's always going to be some slavery there. So there's a tension there between the elite and the freemen, and trying to exploit to turn people into slaves. So if people often think about slavery, they think about chattel slavery. Chattel slavery is, where people are in chains, they're bought and sold at slave markets. That's a form of slavery. It's not the only form of slavery. There's other forms of slavery. So that form of slavery was really prominent in the past, but it has been replaced by other forms of slavery. So there's ways that the elites are enslaving us freemen right now that might not be obvious to you, but is manifesting in all of these mental health issues and people feeling miserable. So we're going to talk about how you're being enslaved. Now, we're going to talk about the definition of slavery. So I've got here Merriam-Webster's here, and we've got slavery, a submission to a dominating influence. Okay, that's one of the definitions. Submission to a dominating influence. Now, I'll tell you a story about a type of slavery. Okay, I had a conversation with a heroin junkie one day, and the heroin junkie told me how he became a heroin junkie, because I was interested in how people make the leap and then get into injecting heroin and become a junkie. And basically what this guy told me, he was young, he had a troubled upbringing, not a real good family life, and a dealer recognised they're predatory. So you could say that dealer is part of the elite class because he's trying to enslave this young man. And basically the junkie said to me, at a party, the dealer sort of recognised, he struck up a conversation, they started talking about different things, and the dealer said, look, do you want some of this? I'll give, and at the party he gave him some heroin. And it made him feel good, it was good. He saw him again at another party a week later, and he went and saw the dealer. He said, oh, can I have some more? He said yes, so he gave him some more, and he shot up again, and then it was really good, and then he was addicted. He needed it. So he went, saw the dealer the next day, and he said, I need some more. And the dealer said, hey, this stuff isn't free, you got to start paying. From that day on, the junkie was a slave. And he might have been a slave to that dealer, or he might have changed dealers, but he was a slave to the heroin after that. So he was a slave to that dominating influence, and that dealer benefited from that. And that's called putting the hooks in. Putting the hooks in. They call that in heroin circles, putting the hooks in. And that's how a class of people will enslave another people, will put the hooks in. And it's through addiction. So we're going to talk about the prominent types of addiction that plague our society right now. So gaming for young men is a massive problem. It's highly addictive. They design it to be addictive. The gaming companies are putting the hooks in. Porn. People think it's free. Again, it's not. The industry is putting the hooks in. It has a whole range of negative impacts in the long term when it becomes addictive. Social media, very problematic for young women. Instagram and all of this. The validation, they get hooked on it. They put the hooks in because women seeking out the validation through social media. Weed, it's always been a problem, seems to be more of a problem. Food, there's food and there's food. The type of food that they sell often these days is putting the hooks in. It's loaded with sugar, loaded with fat. It's fast food. It's addictive. People get obese and unhealthy because of that, and they can't give up the food. Gambling's everywhere. It's advertised. It's the oldest game going. Grog, smoking, vaping, alcohol. It's there. Escapism. This one isn't obvious, but it's still there. Fantasy novels, people disappearing into fantasy worlds. Okay? Consumerism. It's held up by our society as being something to aspire. But quite often, the consumerism outstretches people's ability to achieve and consume those goods. And what often happens is people enter into debt. And debt is another form of enslavement. Okay? So all of these tricks, this is what they do to try and put their hooks in and enslave you. And once you can't give it up, they've got you. And you might feel good, just like heroin feels good in the moment. But you might feel good, but later on, the negative impacts flow on and you'll feel miserable. It's a short-term short-term burst of endorphins or dopamine or whatever you want to get out of that for the long-term pain. And the dealers in these are the ones that are benefiting. They're enslaving you. They're enslaving you, making you miserable. You're not a free man. You're becoming a slave, and you're feeding the elites. Okay? How do I get out of this? Well, most of these things are quite easily given up. You know, hardcore drugs can be very difficult to give up. You know, heroin and things like this. But gaming, porn, social media, weed, food, like junk food, gambling can be difficult too. You know, grog can be difficult. Smoking, vaping, escapism, debt is difficult to get out of. All of these you can escape and become a free man once more. So start with the ones that you can control. What you can control. What you need to do. Give up the gaming. Get your gaming console. Take it away. Take it to your parents' house. Take it to a friend's house. Get it out of your house. This is an easy way to break habits, is to remove the source of the addiction and make it difficult, put barriers in the way. So you have to go, if you want to play your game, you have to drive over to your parents' house or your friend's house or something to get your console. It makes it difficult. Don't have it in your house. Ease of access. You want to get rid of that. Same with smartphone. Go and get an old school Nokia phone. Okay, just an old school phone and get rid of the smartphone. So you can't get into the porn. You can't get into the social media. You're going to go monk mode. Okay? Food. Go and buy healthy food for your next shop. No more junk food. You don't buy junk food. You buy your food. You put it in the pantry. You don't have ice cream. You don't have... First meal of the day is to contain no sugar at all. Get some nuts. Get some eggs. Something like that. Try to steer clear of sugar. Sugar is it's an addictive substance. Don't have junk food. Don't buy junk food for the dinner. Don't have dessert. Okay? All of these things. Grog. Don't have grog in the house. Okay? Only drink at social events like birthdays, Christmases, things like this. Give up the grog. Give up the smoking. What you're going to realise after you've given all these things up is your life, you're going to look at your life and it's going to be shit. That is what your life actually is. This is called getting to rock bottom. You're going to realise when you take away the short-term bursts of, you know, this thing that's masking your reality, you know, the gaming, you're going to realise your life's shit. You're obese, you're unhealthy, you're unfit, you got not much happening. This is going to be your reality. You're going to feel it. This is rock bottom. Don't give up. Because now you're going to have the motivation. You're going to be able to look yourself in the mirror and the things that you can control, you're going to start to action. You're going to tidy up your house. You're going to cook that decent meal for yourself. You're going to tidy up your backyard. Who knows? Once you're starting to get your inhabitants sorted, you're going to start to get your life in order. You're going to make sure you're getting your employment sorted, your income. You're going to start to pay down these debts that you've got. You don't ever buy another thing until you have paid off your debts and saved up and paid for it in cash. Pay down these debts. Get that burden off you. The weight, when you pay off all your debts, it's fuck you money from then on. Fuck you money. Okay? You won't be trapped in your employment. You won't be trapped where you can't get out, because you will have money in your bank. Okay? These are all things that you can control. Once you're getting everything sorted, eating healthy, you're sleeping well at night now. You're sleeping well at night because you're not scrolling. Now all of a sudden, you start to go and do fitness. Start easy, a walk around the block. Do that for a couple of weeks. Then start a light jog. You don't need money for fitness. Run, jog around the block now. Now find a hill, run up and down the hill. You saved a little bit of money, you go and buy some ropes and you plait it into a fast rope. You tie it to a tree in a park, you start climbing the rope, up and down, up and down. Running, climbing, get fit. Education is next. You need to educate yourself. Go to the local library, get books by famous authors from antiquity. Read these books. Expand your mind. Philosophies. Great books. If you have the ability, once you've educated yourself, autodidact, then start to build your education. Go and do a TAFE course, trade, go on university, whatever. Start to build your education levels. Join a club, join a sporting group. Start to make some connections with people. Start to become involved in the community. Okay? Offer to be a coach for a local football team for your niece or nephew or cousin. Something like this. Donate your time. Put back into the community. Put back into your family. Mow your mum's lawn. Do these things. You will start to feel better. You will start to become a new person. And when you're ready and you've done all these things and you're the best person that you can be, maybe then you might be ready to find somebody you can build a family with. And then have the responsibility of having children, because your life is in order. You can look after yourself. Now you have the ability to look after other people. And you can shoulder this responsibility. Then your life will have meaning. This is what you need to do. Good luck.